Grace Shelley.
Shelley?
Grace Kelly.
Did you say Grace Kelly? You're about to drop bars? Grace Shelley. Grace Kelly.
poop.
Put it with Regis. And you got a finale.
Don't go live. Can
Yes,
you hear me?
they can all hear you.
Yeah, Kathleen, the whole podcast. We're leaving that in. That's in the podcast.
All right, feel free to comment below about how loud you can hear me sipping. Thanks, everyone.
All right, now that should actually be the intro. You ready to run this?
Yeah.
All right, I think I have to push the buttons. Yeah. Okay, intro screen. All right, welcome back to the long-awaited next episode of Never Too Old to Be a Wizard. I want to get here in front, plug the socials. You can catch it on YouTube, catch it on Spotify, or wherever else you find podcasts, and catch us on Twitch at Never Too Old to Be a Wizard. If you want to get us on Twitter, a little bit more of a hiccup there. You got to get Never_Wizard. Today we are going to go over the documentary that we watched for Wizard101, Long Live the Spiral. I have the usual suspects with me. We got Catherine, Kyle, and me, Sam. Long-awaited. Who wants to open
Next
this up?
episode
How we want to start this?
of
Never Too Old to Be a Wizard. I want to get here in
I guess
front.
you want to just start from the beginning, start
you can
episode
catch it
one.
on YouTube, catch it
Well,
on
do you
Spotify,
want to go episode by
or
episode,
wherever else
or
you
did
find
want-
podcasts.
I
And
mean,
catch
you
us on
want-
Twitch
I mean, if you want to start from the
at
beginning,
Never
why
Too
was
Old to
it
Be a
4
Wizard. If you want to
episodes?
get us on
Question
Twitter,
number one.
a little bit more of a hiccup there. You got to get Never _Wizard.
I think we should go episode by episode and
Today
then give
we are
our
going to go
overall
over
opinions
the
at the end, don't you think?
documentary that we watched
Yeah,
for
what's that?
Wizard101, Long Live the
Sorry.
Spiral.
What's the
I have the
title?
usual suspects with me. We got
The first
Catherine,
episode
Kyle,
was the
and me,
creation
Sam.
of
Which
the
I think-
spiral. It was I was just gonna say the description for it was the in-depth look at the original King Isle team on the
Yeah,
creation
which
of
is
the game.
probably far and away the best episode of the series, I would say.
Yeah,
Like,
I
not
agree with
so
that.
much. It depends on what you want, right? If you want the feels, because you're just a big Wizards fan, you should probably tune in for episode 4. If you want the most interesting things to learn about the creation of the game, because you have who's the two guys, Catherine, they do most of the talking here.
Jeffrey, Todd Coleman, and Ray,
Ray Shelley.
I think
Ray feels right. And then yeah, I loved hearing Todd Coleman describe. He's like, yeah, the reason the spells are just little snowmen and crap is because that's all I could draw when we were making the game. And that's just hilarious. Yeah.
relatable. I liked hearing the I guess where the inspiration where they drew things from, as far as I mean, I
Yeah.
guess I didn't put this together, but like the different card games that they were watching, talking about like Pokemon and obviously Harry Potter and stuff
Yeah.
like that, and I was like, oh,
I think
yeah,
there's
yeah.
some obvious parallels in this game. Like you'll see, like Marleybone. It's like obviously Sherlock Holmes is their motivation for that, right? It's copy pasted practically. But and then Wizard, of course, Harry Potter and Wizard101 have a lot. That's schools for wizards, right? But yeah, it was kind of interesting when they really laid out what their original idea for the story was, and they're like, yeah, Malistair's the bad guy and Ambrose is the good guy, and that's all we had when we started. So we kind of built out, and you can kind of feel that in the first 5 worlds. I feel like is that 3 of them are kind of just filler. You're just kind of doing stuff.
Yeah,
Yeah.
very much. And also with the creation of it, where they very much started it like a sandwich, where they're like, we're gonna get our 2 slices of bread, and then we'll get what
Fill
we're
it
gonna
out
put
in the
on
middle.
sandwich. Like,
Figure it out later.
Which I mean, it worked. I'm
Yeah,
gonna
but yeah, I think there's just a lot. I don't really want to take away any more from people that might want to watch the episode, but I think episode 1 is very good because you get to see a lot of the original developers, and you can tell they really have a passion for the game. Like they were really excited about it, and the way they talked about how they pitched it and everything, I thought that was a really good episode.
Yeah, there was some. I mean, definitely, I agree with you on episode 1. I don't know if you want to
Yeah,
jump ahead in episodes, but there was just throughout there was other things where I could tell, like there was people who were kind of just like, oh, I have to talk about this for a long time.
Yeah, the fact we should probably put out there that these episodes are each 15 minutes long. This is a 4-episode documentary, 15 minutes long. I don't know why it was not 1 full hour. Like, it's practically just a YouTube video somebody uploaded to Amazon for some reason.
Yeah, I mean, the budget was $600.
Yeah,
Like, I don't
according
think-
to
I don't think they
IMDb,
did
yeah.
too- According to IMDb, yeah.
I feel like I would have actually enjoyed it just watching it through in
Yeah.
one sitting, because like most like TV shows, documentaries are that 1 hour, and this. would
Yeah,
have
and if
hit
I'm being
right there.
completely honest, I've never watched a YouTube video in the past months that wasn't at 2x speed, which would have helped with some of the sections of this one, I would say.
possibly.
So what do we want to get into episode 2? What's the
Yes.
Yeah. So the second episode was a decade of expansion. Kind of, it says that it was talking about like how the development team has expanded the game heavily in the last 12 years. But personally, I didn't really feel like they talked about.
That's very
any of
flowery wording. Because you see a lot of the newer members of the team and some old ones as well, and they basically just talk about what they've been doing between when it launched and now. But a lot of what they talked about is stuff that's happening right now, because they didn't do a lot between then and now. And you could feel that when they would have one girl just talk for like 10 minutes about, we didn't do a lot, and it's because we're on old software.
Yeah, and it was some of it was like she's like, well, there's things that they didn't want to change because to preserve the nostalgia of the game, and I was like, okay. And it's just that was, I think a lot of what she had to say was filler for time. It felt like,
which surprised me.
Second episode,
because when you only have a 1-hour documentary, you gotta have more content than an hour's worth. So when you cut other stuff and that stays in, I'm like, what got cut?
Yeah.
I don't think it's her fault. It's just they just put in everything she said, and they must have asked her boring questions or something. I don't know.
Yeah. Just.
It's like you know how in when you're watching politics and they say I cede the rest of my time. That's really what should have happened at some point along the way. Let's just get past them. I feel like we don't have anything but mean to say about episode 2, and I don't want to harp on that all day.
Yeah, I just wish they had actually talked about like the expansion and like kind of all of like the new worlds that they had actually created after Dragonspire, and
I don't think they even. I don't know if they just didn't want to spoil the game for people that they were trying to get into it, but they didn't even mention like any of the new systems like Shadow Pips or much at all. I feel like those are big changes in the game, and there's like, we did that, and then they never talked about them again.
They talked about oh no, that's episode 3,
they talked about the different
about
stages of PvP, but that wasn't even the game developers. That was a YouTuber.
Yeah, I enjoyed that content. At least that was interesting to me.
So since we're already talking, episode 3, that's the one that's PvP and housing stuff, right, Kyle?
Yep, it's PvP and house decorating.
There you go. Which, I mean, honestly, I had my concerns. I'm like, we're going to talk about house magic for half of this one. So I assumed we'd have a waste of 7 minutes, but it was actually, I mean, it was somewhat cool. Just because they talked about how people were so into it even before they have all the tools they have now.
Yeah. And it was kind of... Sorry.
Classic podcasting.
they talked a lot. They liked the what you were saying, like with how much they did beforehand, like all the little glitches and stuff that they were showing to like be able to make certain things happen or get into certain areas of like their little house, like where they had like stacked carpets. Yeah, and
the community members they brought out that were talking about how they originally got into housing and how exciting that was for them. I'm like, that's exciting for me. If somebody could show me that right now, I would actually be. I think that'd be cool. Especially young me, like, you would eat that stuff up when somebody's like, there's a glitch where you can get behind the stairs. It's like, ooh, like 100%. Kids eat that up. So that really took me back to a childhood place. I felt like I was watching the Lego movie all over again, right back to the childhood.
Yeah, I used to live for stuff like that, like the
but Catherine, what game did you do that in more? I don't feel like Wizards you spent any time on that. Do you want to talk about what game you might have spent more time house decorating in? No? No?
What?
Okay, we don't have to talk about
it.
Wait. I'm just trying to put Catherine on blast for her Webkins obsession. That was honestly around the same time as her Wizards obsession.
I was not thinking Webkins at all. I was thinking the World of Warcraft thing, because that's what she said. She used to play house in that.
I mean...
No, but I would design a house. It was just like literally I was a child, so my friend and I would like walk around Ironforge.
Role
like,
playing?
Hello.
Oh no.
Yeah. No, don't talk to me. Don't talk to me like that. Don't do it.
I won't. I mean, I pimped out my Webkins house too. I can't judge you.
My Webkins house was top notch. Still want to log back in some days.
Can't.
Won't.
Gotta buy a new creature, a new animal or whatever. There's a subscription fee.
No, I wouldn't. I would like not put in certain Webkins.
No, I know. All right, yeah, let's just burn past that. That's enough about Webkins. So the other half was mostly Awesome the Sauce, I think Blake PvP, and probably some other people that were just talking about the PvP experience in the game. And us being super not in the know, it is kind of cool to have somebody like Awesome the Sauce break it down, because he's pretty much the go-to guy for everybody for PvP content. And he just talked about the different phases of the game. I don't know. I find that kind of stuff super cool.
Yeah, I think PvP is something that I would really want to get into, which when I'm
max level.
130.
That's the thing. That's the thing about PvP in this game, though, is a lot of people will pick a level and stop at it. So there's a lot of people who play 130, but there's a lot of people who play 60 or like wherever the breakpoints. So like shadows come out at 100. So a lot of people will play at 100. They're like, this is where I like the state of balance or whatever. They'll play at 50, when you have all your big spells from the beginning, but before all the extra sun spells and stuff. And so that's kind of weird that it kind of breaks down like that. But unfortunately, that gets into where there's level 1s that are trying to PvP, and there's not enough players, and they're like, well, you have to fight this level 130. Good luck.
Unacceptable. I won't.
And you shouldn't. But I honestly, I don't, I remember enjoying the PvP section, but I mean, it was pretty short. I don't remember that much else to it.
Yeah. That was the shortest episode at 40 minutes.
Okay. So the fourth one was mostly just stories about the community, right? It actually tried to touch on the community as a whole.
It was called Forever a Part of the Spiral, which honestly feels very on brand with our podcast name.
Never too old to be a wizard.
Forever.
Because you're never too old to be a wizard. But I thought this one was cool. It was a really funny story by Awesome the Sauce about how he built a kind of reputation in first years of college.
Oh yeah.
I feel like that was PG-13 a little
He
bit.
said nothing to indicate what that should have meant. He said what it meant to him.
But if you,
when you know, when you know, you know, you know.
You actually. You
And
just,
then they did the Fairy Queen's dating story, which we already got in full when we had her on our podcast for episode 2. So it was pretty cool, especially to see, because I feel like I didn't really know what Troy looked like other than that one TikTok he was in. So it was cool.
Yeah, and they gave him a little picture montage.
It was cute.
That was cute. That's
I'm sure she sent that in though.
But that is like
a cute story.
That is a crazy story to think of. Like, I liked in episode 4 just a lot of the people talking about how this game brought them together, brought them some of their best friends. It brought her boyfriends, like the person she lives with now. Like, that's
because I had watched some of Ferrick's videos before, and he talks about how him and his brother played a bunch when they were younger, and he's in there, and he's the one telling the story about how he would stay up late playing over the summer through winter task or whatever. And it's just, I feel that, he's staying up late. I remember the days when I would stay up playing, even when Diablo 3 came out. I went over to Ian's house and just played until the sun came up. And I'm like, oh, look, night's over.
I think we were all laughing, though, at just some of the... I was thinking between the people talking about how it
gave them better leadership skills. Yeah.
Oh, better leadership skills, better. I don't know how it brings better communication.
Especially when back in the day, like the communication was so strict.
I couldn't even see people when I was like, "What level are you?" I couldn't see numbers.
You couldn't ask what level they were.
I was so.
Because they would show you a cool spell, and of course you're level 10 because you're not paying for a subscription. And you wanted to ask them what level you get that spell at, and they're like, the only number they could give you was 3 because they could type tree.
Yep. And then there's these people talking about how it brings them together and it gives them a reason to hang out. Whereas I can't seem to get Sam to play.
I mean, but it does give us a lot more excuses to hang out. I mean, what are we doing right now?
Okay. You got me a little bit. But I think it's so funny because we probably play more separately than we play together, but it definitely we have played it together.
Oh, it's because a lot of playing I do separately is while I'm also watching TV with my wife. It's just it's because it's a turn-based card game. I can multitask it, but for us to actually hang out, I gotta schedule time, and I got a bunch of responsibilities and dogs.
Yeah, that was.
I mean, but I get it, right? Because that's also part of the reason I like the idea of a podcast. Because that's why my brother and me said that's what brought them together. It's literally scheduled. We have to hang out at this time, right? So.
Yeah. Which is, hey.
Yeah, and it's probably the same way for people who are playing Wizards. It's like, we got to do this dungeon, like the guys that were talking about when they did Malastare for a sleepover when they were kids.
Yeah.
So sweet. He was just like, we stayed up until like 3 a.m. and we just did the dungeon of Malastare. We kept dying, and it's just. Well,
when we were super young, they were probably even younger than us, if we're being honest. They were probably like 10. They probably struggled with Malastare, if we're being honest.
You're right.
They weren't all. There wasn't over leveling.
Yeah, 50 was the highest level. And if you were main questing, you didn't even have your 48 spell when you went in there. I did. I certainly didn't.
That's fair. I'm main questing on some of my characters, and I'm scared. On my ice, I'm just only main questing. Terrified. Terrified I won't be strong enough.
I believe in you. But
I think the fourth one was definitely the nostalgia.
Oh, how it closed out with where it actually shows you.
You can't spoil.
Okay, you don't want me to spoil it? Okay, for those of you that haven't seen it, quit now. All I'm going to talk about is the sweet ending. All right, that's the 3, 2, 1. Okay, so at the end, you get to see the narrator of the game in the recording booth, giving you a little outro of what an amazing adventure the game is. And I'm like, oh, I'm feeling that.
My feelings. Oh my god, that's all episode 4 was.
The feels, yeah. It was sweet. It was a sweet little episode. Nice little music under it. Because honestly, I feel like that's why this one came out a little late, and I think it had to do with the fact that they put a little more effort into this one, because the editing was much better. Some of the visuals were more impressive, and the little laptop that actually lit the bed from the same way it lit the screen. I was like, oh, that's actually a nice look. Why are these guys not dying to my tree lord? It's causing me stress.
What are you doing?
I mean, I don't feel like I have too much to say on the subject. Do you guys want to wrap it there?
Did you want to talk about it
overall? It was short. I didn't hate it. I like that it existed, but it's one of those things where if the worst thing you can say about it is you wanted more, then that's a good thing, right? But that's definitely not the worst thing I could say about it. But it's one of my my biggest complaint about it.
I said it at the beginning, but I don't feel like there was any sort of need for 4 episodes.
Because when they said it was gonna be a documentary, I assumed it'd be like an hour and a half, right? You just do it, make the thing. It's not Tiger King, right? There's no criminal, there's no lawsuits going on. It'd be cool if there was.
That we know of.
I think I enjoyed watching it. I had a good time.
Had a good time. Good time to try out the little Amazon watch party.
Yeah.
So if you or a loved one has Amazon Prime, you might be afflicted with Long Live the Spiral. Call a doctor now if Long Live the Spiral lasts more than 17 minutes.
Actually, yeah. If one episode lasts. Yeah, I don't. Kyle, any closing thoughts?
I mean, it was definitely an enjoyable thing. I see where the nostalgia comes from, but a little bit less for me, having been a very new
but I mean,
but I could definitely relate to. I could relate to other games and like situations.
Yeah, because when every time they said Wizard1, in my head I heard Warcraft 3, right? Because that's the game where all my friends would get online every day to talk to each other and play. But of course, everyone, all the people that are young enough to be playing Wizards right now, of course, you're never too old to be Wizards, but the people that are young enough to be playing Wizards right now are just like, Warcraft 3, isn't that crappy game that came out like a year ago? No. No, it's not. Unknown user 01234556 is now following. Welcome. Got another one. Tricked another one.
User.
Another victim.
Another one.
Ra-da-da. Alright, this is Future Sam here. Forgot to record an outro on this one, so I just wanted to let y'all know. Thank you for watching. We're going to go to more of a twice a month schedule instead of every week, because we just found it with our schedules and coming up with topics and being able to research them well enough, we were not on top of it. So thanks again for watching. We'll catch you on the next one.